are here.
There we go. That's it.
Unmuted.
What's going on?
The new ads. The new
There we go.
ads. We've got C4 energy drinks playing before Table Titans now. It's a new little addition. I'm not too mad at that.
Where
So
are they?
we're
We don't
gonna
have
be-
any.
Yeah, we're gonna be
Right, we need them more.
They're gonna send us a box, I suppose.
Yes.
That's the way. it's
Sorry,
gonna
guys,
be.
I already drank all.
Yeah, he's drank all the energy drinks. It is fight week, so we're all amped up. We're all ready to go. America's birthdays and another week, and we've got fights to take place. Cheers, everybody. We're here
Cheers.
at Table Titans. We're going to be breaking down
Cheers.
every single fight and letting you all know what to expect this weekend in studio with us. We've got Will Asia, who will be fighting here.
Julie in July.
yeah,
We're gonna be
Julian
getting that
Connerton.
boy. Julie
He's-
Connerton in July.
Yeah, there we go. We're
July 2.
going to be seeing him perform for the second time in the Cage Titans Cage, first time at Plymouth Memorial Hall, and also joining us, we've got
First
the
time at
legend Steve
155.
Rita, who's also here in studio, brought us a couple of boxes.
Couple of big boxes, yep. When you're ready, we'll open it like Christmas.
Christmas in July or
Christmas in
June.
July.
July on the way, and as
Well,
always,
since-
the boss man.
Yes, what's going on? Fight week. As always, somebody mute your phone now.
It's not me.
You got a phone call?
Oh,
Okay.
somebody's a big dog.
It goes off for no reason. I hate this phone.
Big dog over here.
He's like, it's him.
So, all right, I guess we can break them out because Steve is here to deliver.
All right, let me grab you.
You go ahead. You do it. We'll get Steve
So we
Rita.
got two big boxes here.
A little bit more love.
Look at these bad boys, huh?
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh,
These are brand new, huh?
punchies.
Brand spanking new. Here we go.
Holy crap.
Nice.
Cage Titans, check those bad boys out here.
Checking them
One for
out.
you, one for you, one for you.
Yes.
Everybody's gonna have a glove.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
thank you so much, man.
We're gonna start fighting each other now?
You guys.
They're gonna
These
be
are
Oh,
the
wait.
pros. These
No,
are the-
he thinks he's taking these home. No, these are just for us to look at it. No.
these are the pro gloves?
So we so for those who are wondering what's going on, we actually ordered all new pro gloves. These are all new
It
professional.
says on here.
Well, we're gonna
I
have
know,
to.
you're gonna have to mark
Right here.
it on there. So that one's, this one's a
Hey guys,
small.
right here.
Yeah, see, some of them don't have it.
Oh, I got it. Small. All right, good enough, good enough. Oh, it's on the outside this time.
Look at that. So brand new gloves. Pretty excited. And even the inside. I don't know if you guys can see that. Even the inside's got the logo. Got the logos in the
Goodness.
front.
These were big work in
Chris.
progress, these gloves.
They were supposed to be in for the last show, but they got held up a little bit in customs, I
Yeah.
guess. But they are here, and man, we're pretty stoked. I'm excited about it because, fully braided Cage Titans gloves. These are larges, a little big for me, but
Yeah, I'll have to adjust the size.
I
this
don't think
time.
I'm gonna,
well, this is large. That's small. Which is small.
yeah, this is small.
That fits pretty good.
What size is
That's
that?
just incredible.
But tight with the wraps.
What does it say?
4
Yeah.
ounces, where are we at?
So there you go.
Oh, that's
Hand
extra
model,
large,
yes.
extra large.
There you go.
Get the XLs, yes.
Made in Mexico.
Yeah, so those are gonna be too big for me.
Made in,
Pakistan, they came all the way from Pakistan.
Well, there we are. So I appreciate
These
it.
in here.
I am pretty excited. Fighters, don't be stealing the gloves because I tell all the guys, everybody's always like, can I have my fight gloves? And I'm like, I would love to do it, but like, you can't just order one pair. So like,
Right.
if you want a large and I give it away to the fighter who fought that night, I gotta wait till I need to order 50 or
Yeah,
there's no way to
worth
just
it,
order one pair.
It's the shipping.
Yeah. So,
so
the ship
for
this
crying out
stuff
loud,
is,
please don't take your gloves home.
don't steal the gloves. Don't steal the gloves.
Well, if you want to make your life easy, here's my advice. When you give these gloves out to people, number the gloves.
Look at that. They even have this cool.
I got you, Steve. Don't worry. I'll be taking care of that. Just-
Andy is the glove
That way-
man.
That way, they're always married. You don't have to look for them. The size
Always
is gonna
married,
be-
never divorced.
Never
There
divorced.
we go.
These
Never
are-
divorced.
These things you leave. These bags are legit. I give it a couple minutes before.
Yeah,
they
no, the bags are pain in the neck.
Check
Then
that out.
you can't even get them.
Little tags.
I love that.
The commission required, Massachusetts State Commission required this little tag
Okay.
for 4 ounce, so that's why that's on there, because I made sure.
Yeah.
I got them totally approved by the commission, so they should be good to go. They are the right weight. I brought them to the post office, I weighed them. They're
Ah.
4 ounces, minimum 4 ounces,
All right.
so they cannot be less.
Great guy.
And just for the record, I did not make a dime off of these gloves.
Yeah.
So they just
See, he's
ordered.
getting all the
million
disclaimers.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't want people saying, oh, he's making money off the glove. No. It's just a
Why
guy
can't
that
you
I
make money off
know,
the glove?
I ordered
Get
gloves.
this dude rich. Y'all don't be cheap little bastards over there. Pay this.
I
Hey,
ordered
he-
the gloves,
They didn't mean his man.
so they're good to
Make
go.
these fighters pay for the gloves. Make them pay to wear the glove. Each one.
There we
And you had 40 pairs here, Mike.
cut weight.
You got
Big box.
Bill. No, you good, man. You good.
There's no
Wait, helps you cut weight. All right.
How's that microphone,
Don't get
Cam?
to that. Yeah,
Cam
we-
said the mic's a little hard. Is that a little better? I just adjusted
Here's the meter. Try these meters on. See if these
to the
work.
second. We got two of them.
Right.
So somebody give me a thumbs up. But dude, I'm super excited about these. Are these? Is this the guy that Joe Lozon hooked us up with?
Yeah.
So, Joe Lozon met this guy, or somehow that's where he gets his gear. He recommended him because that's the hardest thing. I will say, people are like, "Oh, wow, you got gloves? Big deal. Everybody has gloves." The hardest thing about this is when you order gloves from overseas. There's no guarantee you'll get them. You know, you could spend $1,500 on a pair of gloves, and it gets held up in customs on a container.
Well,
And you never
customs
see
canal.
They seize it. So like there's been many a times where we've ordered gloves and they never show up. And then sometimes dealing with Pakistan and things like that nature, not to put anybody down in particular, but like you'll deal with a company and then they fold and then you never get anything either. But I've had both situations happen where I've ordered gloves that I just never heard once I send the money. And then I've had situations where we've ordered them, they sat on a container, they got seized, and we never got them. So
So what happened with these gloves too is I made sure that I got a sample. I had to tweak a couple of things after he had them made, and then I had the amateur gloves made, and then you wanted the pro gloves. So I'm like, well, I told the guy, I said, well, I want a sample of the pros. He's like, well, I already gave you a sample. I don't want to give you another sample. I said, well, forget it then. I'm not doing it. You know. And then he wanted me to pay for another sample, $100. He wanted for one pair of gloves. For the sample, I said, no. I'm not paying for another sample. I said, when I get my order, we'll be good to go. So, and then he ended up sending me a sample of the pros.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that everything's,
what size is that? Medium?
that's a medium. It's a little bit better. He had the extra large before.
This is great.
Yeah. So excited. I know people are like, who cares, pair of gloves,
Yeah.
but it is
The
kind
fighters
of
are going to
cool.
have to get used to them a little bit. They're new. They got to be stretched out a little bit. They might be a little bit tight in certain areas, but they just
This'll
stretch
break
them
in
out,
like
work
30
them.
minutes. Yeah,
They're good.
break
Yeah.
in.
Cool. So we got new gloves for this weekend. And they look beautiful. Though honestly, I've ordered probably gloves in the 12 years I've done it. I've ordered them probably 5-6 different times. And I'm not just saying this because you hear it.
Yeah.
Andy, you do our gloves.
These are schmexy.
These are much higher quality
I dig it.
on the ones that I've seen. The branding's on point. Even the logo's on point. Man, I'm stoked.
The cool thing about these too, they're easy to get on, easy to get off.
Yeah. So,
we didn't put the Velcro strap on here because maybe next time we will, but it's makes it much easier. If somebody has a broken hand or something, taking it off, no problem.
Yep.
Don't have to cut the glove to get it
Weak
off.
ass hands.
But anyways,
All right.
yeah, man, we're stoked. It's fight week. Fight week is upon us. It feels like we were just here yesterday, 3 weeks ago, kind of. But we are back. Cage Titans 54. We did have a shakeup at the top of the card. Unfortunately, Nate Williams is out. Marcus Andruzia from Louisiana is in. Marcus is a fight veteran of what is he? 35, almost 30 fights. He's stepping in. This fight will be at a 65-pound catch weight, non-title bout. So that's kind of the big update today is that fight coming off the card. A little bit of bummer. We were looking forward to Nate, but we wish him a speedy recovery. He came in with an injury, and he's not able to perform this week. But luckily, we were able to find a replacement on a week's notice. And Marcus is somebody we talked about before. He was scheduled to fight Zach DiSepetino in the past.
Right.
So I was easily able to get in touch with him and see if the time lined up. So dude, fucking silence your
I
phone.
know it's on silence. I don't know why it keeps going off. I hate this.
Jump
phone.
it on the table.
I just touch it and it freaking goes off.
Let's do some Dorchester shit too. After this.
So he was able to step in. So that's the big news at the top of the card. Joe Giannetti will now be in a catchweight non-title bout. But besides that, the fights are a go, and we're here to break it down and go over them one by one. A couple people have asked who Will Asia's fighting. We've already
Exactly
announced
right.
the fight.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah,
Right? That's that question.
So somebody did ask that.
Julie. His name is Julie Connerton.
Julian
Julie.
Connerton.
Julie in July. Julie Connerton is fighting Julie.
So we'll definitely talk about that fight as we go through the card. But without further ado,
JCPenney.
I usually, we've talked about this before, I typically start the
always
fight
start
off
off
with
with
the
little
small guys because I felt that like the 125 or 135 weight class is just like so fast and action packed and all of that. So I usually started off with that. but I'm going completely opposite this card. We are starting off
Unheard
with a heavyweight fight.
Uncharted territory.
Donovan Lozado out of G&G out in Springfield comes in with a 1-0 record, taking on Deshaun White out of Triforce. This fight, Deshaun is making his debut. I've heard about both of these guys from both of their camps, and they both were kind of like, dude, our guy's a killer. He'll fight anybody. We don't care. And, like, then I get the background on both guys. And I'm like, oh, shit, these guys are both killers. But they were like, we just want to fight, so F it. We're going to throw down. This fight is going to be insane. And I just figured, I know I usually started off the opposite way with the fast pace, but this time I'm going with my gut, and I think this heavyweight fight's going to start the night off right. And that's going to be our opening fight for the 54th.
What sparked this decision to kick it off with the big boys?
I know. I never do it.
1-0 undefeated. Deshaun White making his debut. The big boys kicking off the show. We've had some pretty intense heavyweight action at pro and amateur lately.
Yeah.
Got the amateur title fight on the line later.
Son Graham said he's got some fresh blood on those gloves.
That must have sparked the heavyweights across New England, because kicking off the show, got a couple of different amateur heavyweight fights taking place.
Yeah.
But you decided to throw it in the front of the show. Why these guys? Why at the top of Cage 54?
So it's interesting. You know, I heard from G&G and Jason Franklin how Lozado's a killer, and he'll fight anybody, and he does do some cross-training with Hassan Graham, the champ, and all that. And they're like, he's going to be tough to match, though. He has some extensive wrestling background. And I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. Some beast wrestler heavyweight. Yeah, good luck to me finding a matchup for him. You know, and then when it came up to Deshaun, like, Richie helped me match him out of Triforce, and he's like, dude, this kid's a killer. Like, you know, if he gets in there, the opportunity, he's going to hurt some guys. In the deciding factor, Leon Davis has trained out in Springfield. He's not from out there in Springfield. He also now trains at Triforce, so he knows both guys. And kind of hearing some feedback of how he thought this matchup was going to play, it kind of perked my ears up. And I'm like, both teams didn't think the other team would take this fight. They're like, no way they're going to take our guy. Our guy's a killer. And the other team's like, no way they're going to take this fight. My guy's a killer. And I'm like, this is interesting. But at heavyweight, you don't have an opportunity to be picky. There's not a ton of heavyweights out there. So it's like when you get a name across your desk as a heavyweight, same thing with female fighters, there's not a ton. Like, you kind of have to say yes, because there's not going to be many other options, if any. So, man, just kind of that's kind of where my mindset was. And I was like, shit, man, this fight's going to probably just be bananas. Let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice. I've never started the night off with a heavyweight in the beginning.
Sounds fun.
Here we go.
That sounds fun.
We're going to be.
You got to do something special for Malaysia card, so I appreciate that.
Yes.
And for America, we're coming out swinging.
We're coming out swinging for America.
USA.
I got a
USA, baby.
Speaking of Will Asia card, we do have your opponent Julian in the comments. I'm trying to find the original comments.
I need him in the cage, not the comments, bro.
What
you doing?
Zach Cyril said, I never thought I'd be excited to watch a Thai fight. Should have made
It's a will fight, man.
And
that's why.
Yeah, so
it's different.
This is going to be a good fight. But yeah, man, the heavyweight's going to start us off.
All right, so that's kicking things off. Cage Titan 54, Donovan Lozado and Deshaun White. Our second fight, no stranger to the cage, coming up.
Hey, Julie.
Xavier Cardona's making his comeback. Lakeville MMA has donned a couple of champions as of late in Jack Congdon and Miguel Sevison. So Xavier Cardona looking to get back into the win column and make another run, I would think, at the featherweight strap to bring another belt back home there. He's taking on the undefeated 1-0 Mike Antidormi out of CT Combat. So I don't really know much about him. Got some homework we got to do here. Can't wait to meet this young man who's looking forward to going in against a former title challenger who's been already a part of a few legendary Cage Titans fights. So.
Yeah, so much of this fight, why this kind of came together is I saw Dan Dubuque posted a status about how one of his fighters, and this is actually a student of Dan Dubuque's at Kinetic Combat, and he was posting how, like, he was going to fight on Reality. They said yes to an opponent, and then then Mike said yes, the other guy said no. Mike got no second option. The other guy got an opponent and got to fight that night. So I think it was like on the night of Reality, I saw this status, and I just basically messaged Dan and was like, yo, we got to show July 2nd. Like, that sucks for your guy.
we can get him something. And right around that same time, Xavier he put his name in. So I threw Xavier. I was like, I got this guy, Xavier. I'll see, what's up. And then a few days went by, and I was like, is that fight good for you? If so, I'll send it to Xavier. He's like, we don't say no. And that's kind of Dan Dubuque to a T. Like, and he has that same mentality for his fighters. Like, he's like, I thought it was a given. I was in. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I'll go make the fight official now. And that's how this fight kind of came
Some
together.
people don't say no. There's still plenty out there. And Dan Dubuque School of Kinetic Combat wouldn't expect anything different. But, Xavier Cardona already has gone on a couple of runs. And that last fight that he had with Shane Doherty was fight of the year, worthy contender, 1 year, 1 round war, craziest 1 minute fight I've seen in a long minute. And Mike Interdormy, out of Connecticut Combat, representing Dan Dubuque School, undefeated, jumping into the deep waters on the second fight of the night at Cage Size 54.
Xavier was originally, again, a little bit more backstory. We were talking about him earlier. He was originally going to fight Daniel Pina. Old teammate of yours. I know you still, but Pina got a staph infection, so he had to pull out. So it kind of all came together. But yeah, man. I mean, Dan was always good. He was one of the toughest guys locally, and he said MMA might be out of the question for him, but he's like, I'm interested in some MMA glove pro Muay Thai if that ever comes in there.
For Dubuque?
For Dubuque, he's like, because as with I haven't talked to him for a little while. He got married, then he was fighting CES, and I always respect guys like if they're fighting another promotion. I don't talk to him. He was our champ. So basically what ended up happening is we stayed in contact, but we started talking. I'm like, what about you? Like, what are you thinking about fighting again? And we started kicking things around. And he said, I think I'm done with MMA, but if you do MMA glove Muay Thai, I'm down. So we will see what happens.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right.
I'm
still been waiting for that because we've got approval from the athletic commission to do MMA glove Muay Thai. And it's just like
I was talking about this way back.
And we've
so all y'all know, I was the first guy talking about this and the fucking bows.
Yeah. So elbows are back from Muay Thai in Massachusetts. So I actually just ordered for Muay Thai. Yep. Amateur Muay Thai. So I actually just ordered all the elbow pads for this weekend, but the elbows are allowed in Muay Thai. But either way, we got it approved, and it always just seemed like I had somebody that agreed to MMA glove Muay Thai. Then the other side was like, I want traditional. And then there was different weight classes. I still haven't had that match. We're still waiting for our first match in Massachusetts.
Don't hear that from me, Mike. 175, small gloves in a cage in a parking lot. Well, a guy named Julie. Put them all in there.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, bring us up to our next one, Andy. Oh, you don't have it on. Andy's eating. Next up, we got 2 debuts. Tom Duffy out of G&G, a teammate of Donovan Lanzato, who's kicking things off. This guy's making his debut, taking on Jake Callender out of Sid Yatong, who's also making our debut. We actually have 2 fights between G&G and Sid Yatong. This is the first of 2.
And they're both debut versus
debut. And they're both debut versus debut. So the first one up is Tom Duffy trying to start things off against Jake Callender. Not a lot to know about either one of these guys, I'll be quite honest. They're very young kids. I think one just turned 18. And it's funny because we were doing all this paperwork with the state today, and they were looking at his birth date and 2004. Somebody 2004. He's like, wait a minute. So the commissioner was like, holy Mike, he's too young. He can't fight. And I'm like, and then we start doing the math. He's like, holy shit, he just turned 18. And it makes you feel a little old, Andy, when 2004 there's a kid fighting in our cage.
You guys just put Julie in there with a grown ass man. Look, that's on you guys. He's fucking.
Listen, we don't have weight. We don't have age
just
classes.
now can drink like a year ago.
Julian's only 21.
I don't know. He's younger than me. That's what by a grown ass man. That's on you.
That's
on you, dog. That's on you. I like to teach kids. I don't like to hurt them. That's rude.
Oh,
that's
man.
Fucking rude.
There's no age classes because that'd make my job even. We have to find. I remember people height classes.
Yeah.
This guy's
this 5-year-old. I'll beat one of those asses. I'll go undefeated. He said there's no age classes. Put all those fucking little tots in there. 10 5-year-olds.
I was gonna say, wasn't there a thing like that? It's
I'll fight 35 of them in our fucking cage.
How many 5-year-olds? How many 10-year-olds could it take to beat you up?
I want enough to equal my age. Just put enough to equal my age. Put 3 10-year-olds in there. I'll fuck up 3 10-year-olds. Not mine. My students at RSU will fuck me up, so I can't use them. But
how many 10-year-olds would beat you up, Steve?
Me, I'm 210 pounds. Probably 3, 4.
Thai 10-year-old. They come on American 10-year-old, Thai 10-year-old.
They're so good
Thai 10-year-olds will
nowadays.
break your shins.
I tell you, the kids are so good
Your
nowadays.
thighs will be
You see
gone.
those 2 grapplers you had? Did they kick my butt?
Yeah.
And they were like 5.
Yeah. Oh, the little kids.
Yeah, the little kids you had
definitely.
at the last grappling show.
Those little stranglers
Yeah,
crawling in
that's
neck
so
like
good.
piano wire.
Rob Pico. I was 34 in 2005.
Yeah.
I'm turning 25 this year.
It's nuts.
You're at Gage Luby fighting
When I
older
say
guys
25,
are
I
fun.
mean 31. But
Oh, man. But that's crazy. They're
I know.
just turning 18, debuting against each other.
Yep.
Excuse me. I don't know who's
can
just
you
turning
drink yet,
18
Julie?
between Tom Duffy and Jay Callender, but both young guys that have respected schools, West Coast, west side of Mass versus
Does Tom Duffy have a
east side of
nickname?
Mass.
Does Todd Duffy have a nickname?
I don't think so.
Oh, man. Gotta get him cool.
Tom Duffy?
Tom Duffy, not Todd Duffy. His nickname.
Todd Duffy's
That's the UFC
I have
guy.
no
He
idea.
was in,
got knocked out
Never
by
back
Pacquiao.
down.
Yeah.
I got the pipe to the knees. Never back down.
But yeah, you never know what you're going to get when 2 debuting amateurs are squaring off against each other. Nobody really knows what the jitters are. We sound like broken records on here because that does happen, or it used to happen quite often in Cage Titans cards. You get a lot of amateurs making their debuts against amateurs making their debuts. It does
Sorry.
happen every now and then.
And
so
just in
it's kind
case
of a
they're watching,
treat.
I made a mistake. It's not these ones at the 18. The other set of G&G versus Sigurtong. The next fight we'll talk about. They're the 18-year-olds that are fighting each other.
Making me sound dumb.
Sorry, so I did make a
Yeah,
mistake.
Tom Duffy.
I just don't want Tom Duffy to be like, wait a minute.
Fucking
And
yeah.
Callender, it's not like he's much older. He was born in 2000. So, like,
That's
cool, he's
funny.
22.
Oh, great.
Ah.
Yeah, you're still baby.
But it was, so the other G&G versus Sigurtong fight is the 18-year-old guys fighting each other.
All
But
right.
anyways.
Well, doesn't matter. They're still young guys.
Still
making
young.
Their debut, and those are
Stay
have
relaxed,
historically
guys.
been some
Don't get
pretty
too-
exciting fights. And we're gonna move things on to another pretty low experience bout. Is this a Muay Thai fight or is this an MMA? Brody McDougal.
Brody McDougal's MMA fight. We saw him
MMA
fight
fight.
Muay Thai
This is
for
an
us.
MMA
Yes.
fight. So all right. So he's 1-0 MMA, 1-0 Muay Thai. We did see Brody McDougal get a highlight reel finish over I'm not sure Muay Thai. What's his name? Off the top of my head, I'm losing it. Oh,
Burke?
No, it wasn't Burke. This is how, I've been doing this too long. I used to be able to remember it all off the top of my head. McDougal's last opponent. I also wasn't commentating. I was in the back. So
Is that a daytime guard?
no, it was the nighttime. It was the last two ago.
McDougal.
Next one.
No, 4-2. Mark Murphy.
That's it. Mark Murphy. Yes. Thought it was Murphy, but forgot if it was Mike or Mark. But yes, Mark Murphy. So he's coming back for a second MMA fight.
Nice.
This time Grayson Cage Titans cage with the little gloves instead of
Yeah, so he
just
was an
striking, but I
MMA
didn't know
fighter.
He was jumping in.
He was
back
an
to
MMA fighter originally. Yeah, but then he had some surgeries and some injuries that he was handling. So he took the Muay Thai fight just to kind of dip his toes back in the water. And then obviously he got that win. He had a huge win in that Muay Thai fight, and he's right back to MMA. And he's looking to climb those ranks and maybe push himself towards a title fight or something.
Yeah,
down the
we're
line.
already sitting at 1-0 in both kickboxing and MMA. A good start, and he's taking on the debut Ben Bracco out of Triforce. So Triforce sending a couple of guys making their debuts up in a couple of different weight classes. Bracco probably been training a long time, coming out of that gym out of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. They always make a splash, Triforce, whenever they come up, and they've made many runs at the amateur titles and sent plenty of guys off to the pro ranks. One of the most respected schools
Yeah, they have a huge
in
school.
New England, no doubt.
Their
So,
building is nice. I mean, the school itself is nice.
oh yeah. So yeah, another exciting amateur matchup,
Sounds great.
another debut.
Sounds fun.
How many fights are there total?
16. Sorry, I'm replying to my son on Snapchat. My 13-year-old just sent me, Dad, your Insta story is weird. Why do you post that stuff? And it's a picture of Brody McDougal. And it's a picture. It's not him. He has a nose-toast hat on. And it's a dog. And he's like, why do you post that stupid shit? And it's like, it wasn't me. We just shared it because one of our fighters shared it. Sorry, I was a little distracted.
My kids do that to me all the
Yeah,
time.
they're like, Dad, you're weird. I'm like, well, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't really post on Instagram. So like, I have a personal one, but I don't post on it. So I was like, what the hell could he be talking about? And then I went, yeah, whatever. Anyways, forget me, ignore me. Sorry, my 13-year-old kid was actually talking to me. So like, usually it's like, you know
That
that
need money,
they don't
yeah.
want to be bothered unless they want money or a ride somewhere. So I had to let him talk to me. My kid let him talk to him. That's soft. Anyways, shout out to Valdina who's in the comments. Valdina will be making his commentary debut for the undercard this week. So we're excited to have Valdina in the commentary booth. But next up was the fight I was talking about before, Carlos Bellaster, who was April of 2004. So he's only a couple months past his 18th birthday. He's making his debut out of G&G, taking on Matt Martinez out of Sidya Tong. Two debut guys going at it. I think I have.
You never know what you're gonna get with those kind of fights. It's insane. So, young fella and Carlos Ballestier, that's the one born in 2004, as you mentioned.
And Matt Martinez was born in 2002.
Yeah. So
All these 2000 after 9/11, Jesus Christ! I never like. Could you imagine fighting some kid born after 9/11?
no.
Like, how are you hitting me? You don't know history. Fuck out of here.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember that.
Jesus. Great.
So
Holy crap. But yeah, that's it. I don't know. That's I guess that's one way. I think this might be the first two people born post 9/11.
That's
an interesting
perspective,
So
right?
the only thing I can
It's
give you
like
for fun information, besides that Carlos just turned 18 2 months ago, he's actually Marcel Romero's
What weight is
cousin.
that? What weight class is that?
They're fighting at 135.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's Marcel's little cousin, Marcel Romero, Cage Titans featherweight champion.
There we go.
Yeah.
So
All right. Shout out to Lisa Matthews. Saw her in the comments. She's always there. I always got to give a shout out to Connor Matthews' mom. And she's always in the comments hitting us up. So
always, and Connor's got a big fight coming up.
yep, and he's
just over a
cornering Aaron this week, so which we'll talk about later.
Yep. Oh, a couple more fights. So
Next week we got Julian Connerton,
Julie versus say his
Evolution
name right,
Athletics 1-0, taking on Will Asia out of Artistry Martial Arts. When you first came to us, you were on the very first combat night card.
Yeah.
Damn right.
And now you're out of Artistry Martial Arts, your own school. So some things have changed in the last 2 years.
1631 Beacon Street, baby. Come on.
Yeah. So you have your own school now.
Yep.
First fight representing your school.
Yep.
Taking on Julian Connerton. Full of confidence.
Really? I
Full of
didn't know
bravado.
this.
It's great.
I feel like I'm just good.
They-
That's not really
You're not
confidence.
yeah,
I mean, it's
confidence,
confidence. It's
right?
just honesty. The confidence you'll see on Saturday night.
Yeah. So what do you know about Julian that like stands out? Like, is it all confidence in yourself, or is there stuff that you've seen in his game, but he's only fought once?
Well, he fought Steve the Quitter Gaudet, and when you hit him, he dropped and he sat down for 8 seconds while the referee counted 1, 2, 3, 4 until you feel like going home, right? And so the dude got up, said, "Okay, I'm all set here." Julie's saying, "Stay down," thinking that you did something big with a guy who quit, and you got called a knockout guy for that. It's bullshit. We all know that. You know that. He knows that. And I know that. The rest of these fans don't know that, which is why they're going to tune in and see what happens, right? So again, 15 seconds, that's cute. Have much more time than that against a much better fighter than you.
I'm excited for this matchup just because of
Real quick, what's up, Carlos? We were just talking about his fight. He just popped up in the comments. We look forward to seeing you this weekend and making your debut.
But yeah, I've been thrilled for this matchup ever since it was made. Julian Connerton made a huge
I was
splash.
asking for this. I was like, give me somebody good.
Will wants only the best guys, and you guys it's not just the show here. Like, oh, you're on Table Titan, so you're gonna try to hold the bravado.
Tell
He hits me up. He's like, I'll fight this guy. I'll fight this guy.
Every single show, you always, I don't know how many times you just come up and
all you
chat. When am I getting back in there, Andy? When are you going to give me a fight? I'm coming
I
for all the
moved down
smoke.
from 175 down to 55, guys. The weight I lost, I told Mike earlier I need a new belt. Okay, all of you boys are going to contribute to that belt. Okay, that's what's going to happen.
He's already asking for the crossover to MMA and take on Miguel Severson after Miguel Severson just won the MMA title last show.
He calls it asking, I call it planning. Continue. I got you.
Planning. Actually, I don't know if you listened to Chael Sonnen, but he just did a piece on Cannoneer. Go watch it if you haven't. But he's talking about he's in the main event status, Cannoneer, and it's like you should already be planning out your next 3 best big fights. Like if you win the belt, yes, you automatically get the next 3 best fights, but you should take your status and then plan out the rest. And people are like, oh, well, why would you plan if you lost? And he's like, you always plan what your next moves
after a
are.
loss. Don't be a bitch, right? And it's one of those things. Like you guys don't even know what my fight record is. I'm just that good, right? It's one of those things.
So
I'm a bad guy.
it's been 2019 was your fight?
2019. It was right before COVID.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so the world broke.
No. That wasn't our first combat night. Our first
Yeah.
combat night was 2018.
No, I was on number one, bro.
Yeah, that was 2018, bro.
Was it?
Even
19,
further.
18. Yeah, 18. 18.
Even
Yeah.
further back.
Yeah, see, I mean, that means
I was gonna say, we were putting on combat nights well
Yeah.
before.
because I was scheduled to fight some dude, Aaron, what's his jaw, at 165.
Yeah, no, that was
for
when.
small glove Muay
that was
Thai,
the-
and that was right in April before.
No, he's right. You're wrong.
No, it was
Sorry.
2018.
Right here, I'm looking at the
What you
record.
mean, dog? What you mean?
No, because I was still
How
fat.
do you think this is wrong?
He's
I was
like,
still
"What do you
fat. It's a
think
database. It's not wrong.
I don't smoke that much.
Yeah, but we
still,
did
dog.
combat night for longer than a year.
No, it's night.
I'm telling
I'm
you.
at night one. The database don't lie, Andy.
Trust me, I remember this night.
No, but I can't believe that the pandemic only happened 6 months after.
Yeah, dude,
It had
it
to have
hasn't.
been
I mean, it's
18.
been 3 years. It's been 3 years.
Well, it happened in March of the fall, so it was like 9 months later.
3 years, dude. Not long enough. So again, I was ready.
Yeah.
No, that had to have been.
Andy,
No, we
the
didn't.
database don't lie.
But did we do a pins card before combat night?
That was the pins card.
That was the pins.
That was the first pins card. Then I'm telling you, the database is off. Because I was still fat.
No, dude.
I was just coming
How
off of
about
being
this? How
fat. I
about this?
lost
How
the weight
about
in
this? I'll just check my
2018.
IG. I'll check my IG. I'll just see what I posted.
Please do.
Right?
Yeah.
That'll
It's
be
not
like.
wrong.
I don't care. I'm telling
I
you, that
believe
shit's
in Mike.
wrong.
I believe in
All right,
Mike.
how many?
I think Andy's
I'm
insane.
losing it. No, I was
You're
still
losing
fat.
it. Yes.
So I'm gonna look at the K Shines Award thing. When was this? 2019 December is when they were talking about all this shit, right? For the year, 2019 December. That was for the year.
But then we had to have
So
done
Tyler
pins
Pimentel's
card.
saying we did a regular pins card.
That's what I'm saying. All right, that's when
We
I
did
was
a
okay,
regular
there we go.
pins
I
card.
thought
That's
that
when Josh and I
combat
were about
night-
to win the
Yeah.
fucking.
I thought combat night was the first. No, that was the Peter Barrett pins card, where Peter Barrett versus Conor Barry was the headliner. At
So,
Pins.
That was a
That's
banging
when
ass
I was
card.
fat.
Sean
All
Schubert
right,
and
there we go.
fucking homeboy knocked
It was
each other
pins.
down.
It wasn't combat night that I was fat at. It was the first pins card.
First
There we
pins
go. All right,
card.
never
So,
mind.
yeah,
I do
Tyler
stand
Pimentel came through. So you were wrong about the combat night, but not wrong that that was our second pins card, but we did a regular numbered event at pins.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lionel
Yeah.
Boogs, we do not
My
hate
boy
you.
Lionel. I love Lionel.
Lionel, he's already starting the fire.
Good.
So Lionel was supposed to fight Bruno back on the June 4th card. Then they got pushed back to July 2nd, which was supposed to happen this
Why
weekend.
did it get pushed back?
Bruno ended up having to pull out. So they're
He
1
had
for
to pull
1
out,
in pull-outs.
decided to pull out. There's a choice being made. So some people can pull out and some people have to pull out. Right? It's one of those things. But continue. I got you.
So,
I got you.
anyways,
Love you, Lionel. I got you.
Lionel pulled out on the June 4th card. Bruno had to pull out for this weekend's card. They're already at a war with each other online. So my hope is to maybe get that rescheduled for August
You know
card.
who's back? I got.
I know you got Lionel's card back. You know, that's a fight that so many people are excited to see. And he admitted his son was sick, so that's why he had to pull out.
Okay.
Bruno said he had a broken nose. You know, so at the end of the day, it's a fight. we'd love to
Lionel's
get back.
reason was legit. That dude had a fucking fight reason. Oh, he got a broken nose. You got to break a bunch of shit, dude. Go in there. You got plenty of bones.
While we have you, while we're on this, just like my last opponent sat down, but he clearly was lifted off of both of his feet. We know who's really confused.
What's he talking about?
He's talking about you.
There you go. Watch the fight.
Uh,
You guys go watch the fight.
Shout out to
Fuck.
Jason Franklin. We were just talking about a couple of your fighters. G&G's got 3 guys coming in on this card, which we're stoked to see. Every time you bring us guys from Springfield, it's so funny because, like, though it's in Massachusetts, they had their own little MMA world going on over there with Premier and Ammo. And then with those, I think Ammo's still around, but Premier fell apart. And now we've seen an influx of guys coming to us from Springfield. We saw it with Marcel Romero, Hassan Graham. They were bringing some killers over to the east side of the state.
They're winning gold too.
Dude, the East Coast is getting better, man. It's
Yeah.
getting a lot better.
So there you have it. Julian Connerton taking on this
Julie,
man.
call his name right, Mike. Julie Connerton in July. Julie in July. That's what's happening.
Real
Yeah,
Asia.
That's Real Asia.
What-
Julie who hit the quitter, who thinks he's the big guy in town. But you used to be chubs and now you're a little thin. Now you think you did hard work. Get out of here, you little bitch. Fuck you.
All right. I feel like I should call Julian in right now.
I know.
I feel like he should be able to.
Call his
If
bitch
Julian,
ass.
if you
know
wanna
why?
call in-
His butt hurt because I said some true shit, and that's why. When you say shit that's true, it bothers people. When you say shit that's not true, he'd ignore me. All the other shit I said, he ignored. This shit is, he's coming back.
Don Simmons. I want to be
Prepare
just
to
like
die,
him. You know Dom Simmons? I
Who's
want to
that?
be just like him when I grew up. I think he's talking about you.
I love you, man.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
So, anyways,
I call it for what it is, though. I don't, all these people who fall for bullshit. Oh, 15-second knockout. Look up concussions. Look what knockouts are. Mr. Education. Okay, go check that out. All right. Didn't you get your little degree in concussion? All right, concussion protocols. Understand that. Okay, I know everything about you, so go look that up.
Damn, it's going
Okay.
deep.
Tell Carol I said hi.
Whoa. I don't know who Carol is.
It's one of his grandfathers. Someone's keep going. Though.
Oh,
Continue.
okay.
She's an older woman.
All
Don't
right,
worry.
I'm not
Continue.
touching anything.
Continue.
Check out Julian Connerton versus Will
Call me
Asia
Gramps.
next Saturday.
Call me Cramps. Continue though.
All right.
But
So next up, we're
Moving
staying in the Muay Thai world. We are Tony Rivera. Tony Rivera, we've seen him fight a couple times in the
Y'all know
MMA
he's
world.
half black too, right? Julie's half black for a reason, right?
No.
I mean, it's that. I'm just saying.
Hey, I just gotta say, if Zach Cyril says you're tripping, you must be tripping because he goes, Will Asia's tripping.
What am I tripping on? I'm saying, dude. I'm saying at 158, thick as fuck, bro. I'm 3 pounds away from whooping your ass.
No, Zach Cyril's a good dude. He
Not
was
Zach.
giving,
Not Zach. I love
props.
Zach. Not Zach.
I think
I'm
he's giving
talking
you
about Julie. Julie's looking at this. Not Zach. Zach's my boy. What you talking about? Me and Zach. I want to smoke a blunt with Zach after this fight and before the fight, bro. I got you. I'm not talking to you, man. I'm talking to fucking the little girl watching the fucking thing, Julie.
We lost control
He
of the
lasts
show.
15 seconds. I last the whole night, dog. What you talking about? Julie's a bitch. Get out of here. I handle bitches. Get out of here.
I'm
Also,
excited.
One more thing. Put
okay.
Mondo in the fight with Luby. That dude, Luby. I want to see Lee Mondo fight.
Luby taking some time off.
He's gonna take Mondo soon, though.
Yeah,
We
there
gotta
you
get
go.
that going.
Um,
We're making fights here. We're matchmaking.
He's taking my job. He's taking the promoting
I
job. He's
love
taking.
Mike.
He's doing all
we
kinds of
work
good stuff.
together.
There we go.
guys. All right.
but I'm excited. I'm thrilled for this fight now.
I will, Julian. I'll have you FaceTime in if you did want a FaceTime in because there are some serious accusations that I would not feel comfortable if I didn't at least give you the floor to rebuttal if you want it. If
I'll
not,
give him the floor
I think
second.
Julian said he's like, listen, I'm a guy that fights in the cage.
I know he doesn't say
You
he's
know, he's-
talking.
yeah.
I know. He doesn't care about anybody who's coming to the fight. So all you people who are paying tickets to come see a guy who doesn't care about you, feel free to tune in to see me. I got you. I love all you guys.
Cupcakes and Martina say hi. So
Cupcakes and
next
Martina.
show we're talking next fight we're sticking in the Muay Thai world. Tony Rivera is making his Muay Thai debut, taking on Zach and Stasia. What's cool about this is Tony came in, fought a couple times in MMA. He was
He took the fight on
Poirier's
notice
fight
against
is like
Poirier.
2 days notice. Then he took another fight and got guillotined. And he said, listen, I feel like my background is traditional martial arts and I'm more of a stand-up guy and I really want to just kind of like not have to
Respect
worry
to
about
that,
guys
man.
taking
Yeah.
me down.
I like that.
And so I can just focus on letting my hands and my feet go. So he asked me,
He's
can we
honest.
get a Muay
That's
Thai fight? And I said, yeah, let's do it. And he's taking on Zach Nastasia out of Fight Zone. Zach trains with Jimmy McDonald, Mike True, all those guys over there. And yeah, man, he's 1-1. He's fought at No Boundary. He won his first fight at No Boundary a couple months ago. And he's back. And Tony's looking to show that, he's not that guy that's, like the MMA world. He's the guy that comes in, he'll fight, he'll look the part, show up, but you take him to the ground, you're able to submit him. But what he has shown, what he might think is, a deficiency, like, oh, well, people just think I'm 0-2 guy from MMA that got choked out twice. I take a lot away from that. He showed tremendous heart, tremendous grit.
learning
No
experience.
quit. If you remember that Joe Poirier one, you talk about people who quit. This kid
Don't die, right?
was in a guillotine, and he tried to jump over him, and it was like he showed just no ounce of quit.
Ounce of quit. It's
Um,
all
I
heart
love,
in that one.
I love guys like that, man. I respect the shit out of that.
So I gotta. I'm pretty stoked to see Tony to be able to show his hands because I feel like he hasn't been able to show, that facet of his game, and I think it's a facet of the game which I'm intrigued to see.
Shane is going to be here. He's asking why I can't commentate. Oh no.
Yo, yes,
Cyril.
get Don to commentate.
Shane is.
Is he going to be in the
I
States?
swear, Mike's Citadel guy.
Oh,
he
he just
treats
fuck too
them
much. Yeah.
differently.
I've said fuck on
Bring Don.
commentating.
Donnie better speak good about me too, man. Come on down there. That'd be awesome. Have Don as a
So
commentator.
Julian, there we go. No reason to call him. We will have enough FaceTime July 2nd.
I told you.
Yeah.
Did I not say? I said it before the podcast. He's a bitch, man. I told you
And the
guys.
Jiggy Man has spoken.
Yeah, yeah,
So
Jiggy Man has spoken.
yeah, man, we're gonna find out really soon.
Yeah. In a week.
And within a week. And if you weren't excited for that fight before, how do you not see this and not get excited?
Fuck this boy.
Um,
This is 158. Imagine the rehydration, dog. I'm gonna fuck you up. Get out of here. I see what you look like.
All right.
This is 25 years of ass whooping going on to you, bro. What you mean?
There we go. We got ourselves a
Fucking
Muay Thai
day.
fight, followed up by another Muay Thai
That's the
fight.
relation fight.
Rivera versus Nastasia.
There you go.
2 high camps, and then Tony Rivera just has proven he's a dog. He's an absolute savage in there, and he wants to prove his mettle in stand up
combat sports alone without the threat of being taken down. You know, he's proven he's tough there, but you know, admits that he has some holes that he's got to fill in the ground.
Yeah, so what he
Wants
said
go
to
in
me
and
is
slug
that,
it out.
you know, he's kind of came into this just as like a guy who's a tough guy and, you know, had some striking and things of that nature. He kind of jumped into the MMA world without some proper training in the ground. He came to me afterwards. He's like, I just kind of got in with a school and with a good training group. So like before I get back, I don't want to stop fighting, but like I just know that aspect of my game needs some more seasoning. So like I still want to fight every show, but like for me to go in there when I obviously know I have some deficiencies on the ground isn't smart. So I still want to get the competition level. So can I do some Muay Thai?
That shows intelligence.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who can be honest about their skill set and like how to develop from there.
Yeah.
It's very good.
So
It's
we go
different
for,
than thinking you knock somebody out and you did.
so moving on, we got this fight is just crazy. Undefeated 4-0 out of Evolution Athletics. Ben Grady, you might have actually refed or seen him fight a couple times. A couple times in NEF. 4-0 undefeated. He's coming down from Maine to take on Sergey Parasuko, who has looked unstoppable. 2-0. You know, he took out was it Bobby Homer?
No. He took. We fought on the same card, Sergey and I forget who his first opponent was.
Steve Foley. He fought Steve Foley.
He did knock out Steve Foley in the second round of their fight. But beforehand, what's the young man's name? Tyler Wolf, I believe.
Tyler Wolf out of that was an insane fight.
Yeah, I did. That's one of the few I didn't get to watch live, but it was a crazy fight. You know, Sergey's a dog sitting at 2-0. He showed his skills. He walks out to Katy Perry in a fur coat and he goes in like like an assassin, aiming to finish and well-rounded in all facets of MMA. But he's taking on another undefeated fighter who's got double the experience, and Ben Grady coming down from Maine. Evolution Athletics sending a plethora of people. They've got Julian Connerton earlier, obviously.
Say his
Ben
name.
Grady. Ben Grady coming in undefeated at 4-0 with a ton of experience. Tyler Butterknife Smythe fighting for a title shot. So when they come in droves, they have a serious win percentage. So they're going to be at the away team. Somebody's has to go. 2 undefeated lightweights, we'll say. It's taking place at a catch weight at 160 pounds. But
Yeah,
these guys will try to make it to 155 at some point.
What are their names?
Serious.
Sergey
title
Parasuko and Ben Grady.
Ben Grady versus Sergey Pirshunko. It's pronounced.
That's why you're the announcer and I just butcher people's names.
Yeah.
I'm the worst with
You butchered
pronunciation.
his name.
Remember I was
You
calling you
used to
Will
call me
Isaiah?
Isaiah. I'm like, how dare you?
Isaiah. I don't
Remember
know.
the name, Mike. Now you
It's
can't
just
forget my
this
name.
Asia.
I know, but I was like,
Now
Isaiah.
you
Did you
forget.
not
I-
look at a globe in
To
kindergarten?
my defense,
It's
I think
Asia.
That's the
when
first thing you said.
Eric sent me your name, I think he might have put an extra I in there. So like the first time I saw your name, I was like, is that Isaiah? And then
Well,
when you
just
said
admit
to me,
it,
you were
can't
like,
read.
it's Asia. I'm like,
Dude, it's the
No,
simplest
shit.
fucking thing.
I know,
It's
I
the
know.
continent that has all
I'm
the
never
people
gonna
in it.
hear the end of it, but I'm telling you.
But
I'm
now
telling
you're not
you.
gonna forget.
I never forget.
Okay, now you can't forget.
Little Asia.
Asia.
Anyhow, Ben Grady, Sergey Pirshunko.
Pirshunko, yeah.
You know, these guys both undefeated. I mean, when you look at Pirshunko training down there with Jeff Joy, Local Lobo, Josh Belanja, all the guys down at Local Lobo's place. You look at Grady, who's up at Evolution Athletics. You know, he was probably one of the main sparring partners for Mo Al-Kayani, who had a
great.
storied history at the amateur ranks, 8-1, 9-1, something like that. Former cage titles champion. So
He trains with Julie. You know, I'm sure Julie gets his ass whooped by that guy all the time. He's very good. You know, he's very good.
Anywho, so we got a good fight in this one, and I think this sets the table nicely for the rest of the card. We jump right into Erin Johnson, War Baby, is taking on Annabella Kelly out of Syndicate. Great about this fight. I said it before when we announced it last week. Connor Matthews is the head coach of Erin Johnson, former Cage Titans fighter who's now gone on. He's going to be fighting on the Dana White Contender Series.
Oh, good shit.
Taking on Annabella Kelly, who her coach is Jay Perrin, former Cage Titans bantamweight champion, current
Awesome.
UFC fighter. So you got two Cage Titans veteran fighters who have moved on to the UFC, back cornering fighters. So we got to give them a pretty cool nod. We've had this happen once before. I think Johnny Cupcakes had a fighter that he cornered. So the evolution of Cage Titans, like guys who started with us by fighting, are now coming full circle and coaching their
Pretty
students.
family, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool.
What's up, man? Good shit.
And Annabella Kelly, a fine
Cage
from
Titans.
Las Vegas, coming all the way from Syndicate. We don't really send too many traveling amateur fighters out, but it has worked out plenty of times in the past. And this is the first round of syndicate fighters we've had.
We haven't had a
Cage
syndicate
Titans,
fighter
but,
coming. No.
Really? I feel like I've seen maybe.
Syndicates out in Vegas. I have some
Maybe
good
I've
friends
seen
out
on
there,
TV.
the Shapiro brothers.
Mhm. Yep.
Big Wood, John Wood. We haven't had them out here yet, so this is their first time, and I'm pretty excited for it. War Baby, everybody who has heard of her from New England. Annabella Kelly. I talked to Perrin, and Perrin knows both, and Perrin's like, this is going to be a banger. Usually like I asked Jay. I said, "Oh, she mentioned," because I didn't know that Jay was her head coach. She reached out to me, and then I was like, "All right, cool. I'll fly you and the coach out and all this stuff." And then I was like, "Who's your coach?" She's like, "Well, you might know him. He was the former Cage Titans champion. Do you know Jay Perrin?" I'm like, "Oh." So sometimes they don't sometimes when I deal with other schools, like they don't realize like Cage Titans is like, yeah, it's been around, but like I know like. They don't know if they're just talking to a matchmaker who might not even know who that guy is, or like they're talking to travel and they don't know. Like you're talking to me when I book your flights. You're talking to me when I take your pictures and post on social media. You're talking to me when I matchmake.
Mike's the man, but
you're
talking
so,
Cage Titans. It's Mike talking back.
So yeah, so like she's like, you might know him, and I've had it happen a couple times. Like, oh, do you know this guy? I'm like, yeah. So I reached out to
You
Jay.
never forget who fights for you.
No. So I reached out to Jay.
I pronounce the name sometimes.
I don't know how to
but
pronounce
you
your
never
names,
forget
but
that.
I reached out to Jay and I was like, "Hey Jay, what do you think of this fight?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, man." He's like, she's talented," and he's like, "It's gonna be a great fight." So yeah, man. And War Baby, about War Baby, and
I want to fight with Anna Crutchfield. It was one of the better fights of all.
Put any like scrappy New England chick in a cage, you're gonna see something awesome for sure.
Well, like you were saying earlier, with the heavyweights, it's tough to find matches for the heavyweight fights. It's tough to find matches for the female fights. Got to go all the way to Vegas to find a 7-fight amateur veteran for Erin Johnson and Annabella Kelly sitting at 2-5. That's a ton of experience in the women's MMA, and that'll be coming to fruition when she makes the walk to the Cage Titans cage for the first time. And it's just a different animal.
Good luck.
there we go.
Well, Jay
Enjoy.
Perrin in the corner, I'm sure.
Jay Perrin's
He'll have some
awesome. He's smart as fuck.
mentorship towards it.
Very wise.
Obviously, Connor Matthews in the corner of Erin Johnson too. It's going to be a highly touted matchup. That's basically wrapping up our undercard. And one more fight on the undercard before we get to the main card. Right?
Yeah. So then the last fight on the undercard, I figured what better way than we started with the heavyweights, and we'll end the undercard with the heavyweights. And we got a huge title fight between champion Hassan Graham taking on Jack Burke. Jack Burke is actually from New Hampshire, but he's part of Jackson Wink, so he's been going back and forth. When he reached out, he told me, I'm part of Jackson Wink camp, and I'm like, oh, you're a heavyweight? He's like, I'm from New Hampshire. I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. And then I found out, he was at Jackson Wink and all that stuff, and I was like, okay. But he fought at NEF. I'd have to look up who he fought, but yeah, man. I mean, the heavyweight pool is not that deep. So, when I threw Hassan Graham name at him, he's like, yeah, I'm in. I'm like, okay, listen, if you're willing to step in and fight that heavyweight beast, Hassan Graham, and you want to do it, let's bring you in.
I mean,
He's got a nice mustache too. Have you seen the picture
I
of Jack
have
Burke?
seen the pictures of Jack
Dude
Burke.
is stashed up, bro.
Yeah.
But excited for the heavyweight title to be on the line again. Hassan Graham, for someone who's only going to be one and done, has sure made a splash at Cage Titans this year. He's looking like he's trying to fight on every single card.
So in Jack Burke's one fight, he knocked his guy out in 1:25 up at NEF.
Can they see the screen at all?
No.
Oh man, you gotta listen out.
He's at a defensive edge. Looks like pretty good. Sorry, guys, we're watching the fight. But holy
wow.
shit!
Good shit.
Maybe I can screen. Let me see if I can share that screen. That's too good of a fight because everybody's
Whoa,
seeing.
whoa! Let's be real here. That's not official footage, though. I don't know if we want to be throwing that on there because
Yeah,
no, let's not throw that on there.
Google Jack Burke.
Yeah, if you Google it and whatnot, but I know we're Cage Titans, but official footage, we wouldn't
all right.
mind doing it. But
Yeah, they don't want it.
That's why we got Andy.
But
Smart as fuck.
there you go, Andy.
The wise guy.
I was going to share it, but you know what? Maybe because it's not our promotion, we're not allowed to. So we won't. But either way, holy heavyweight slobber knocker. Jack Burke wins via KO in the first. Go Google that video and you can see what's up with Jack Burke. But either way, two big heavyweights ready to throw down. Like you said, Hassan Graham was like, I'm going to be a one and done. And, here he is 3 fights later. Now he's talking about this being his last amateur fight, possibly going to pro after this.
Hey, man, he's made a splash. And like you said, for being one and done, how do you ignore the success that you've had becoming the heavyweight champion?
And this guy's the man. Like, for his title fight, he rolled up in a limo. He took a stretch limo from Springfield, like a stretch SUV limo. It just pulls up, like, and again, like even with yourself, like, we can give you the platform, we can give you the stage. What you do with it from there is on you. Like,
some people get a limo with it from there.
Some people could take the stage and get in a limo and drive up to the stage in a limo. Some people
take the bus.
Some
take a Camaro. Some take a fucking muscle car.
Some take their one fight and they roll with it and they do all the social media and all the all the talks and all that stuff. And some are quieter and they just want to stay more reserved.
He's talking about the bitch. I love how nice you are. He's like, I'm gonna say a nice way to call him a bitch.
Oh no, it's just like I just say like Conor McGregor is the same. Everybody got the same stage as Conor McGregor, but he just did something a little different with it that made it work for him. Joe Lozon, for instance, I won't use so you don't think I'm talking about it.
Same conversation with Conor McGregor. I'm happy already. Keep going.
But like Joe Lozon, he's never but he was one of the guys that was the first fighters to do vlogs backstage at the UFC. He had his own cameraman follow him. Like before UFC did an embedded series, he was doing his vlogs leading up to the fights, something no one else was doing. So it really every little fight you have is your own little opportunity for business and how you're going to grow and how you're going to work.
Let me know if you guys want to see a champ camp next time.
That's the thing that a lot of fighters miss is they fight, but they don't realize the marketing end of it. You know what I mean? They don't
because nobody pays for punches.
They're not good
kicks.
interviewers. They don't try to sell tickets. They don't try to promote themselves. They just that fight. People going to come watch me. No, you have to bring.
Because I throw footballs and I
something
fucking
to
throw
the
punches
table.
and kicks.
Like somebody told me one time, why does Conor McGregor get $100 million to fight? Well, because he brings an entire country with him.
Well, I used
So-
to use it as like the Chael Sonnen or Conor McGregor, when fighters, and I'm not just saying this in a promo, because though I'm old now and way out of shape, I did fight.
There's less people than the state of
You should have
Massachusetts.
saw Mike before the podcast. Mike was showing me shit. He was showing me some moves.
But I'm not just saying this as like a promoter go out and sell tickets. Like I was a fighter before, and I know what it's like. Like you talk about Conor McGregor or Chael Sonnen was another one I used to like the example. It's like
Malaysia.
when you're selling tickets on the local level, it's like, hey Steve, you want tickets? All right, give me 100. Here's 2 tickets.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
pain in the neck. Yeah.
Yes, but that's selling tickets. Guess what Chael Sonnen is doing, or Conor McGregor was doing? They're selling tickets. They might not be handing those tickets, but they're out hustling, doing social media. They're doing every interview they can do. They're making sure they're on talk shows and things like that. So though they're not doing what you're doing at the local level, going, oh, give me $50 as a ticket. They're selling tickets in a different way with their voice and their stage and all that stuff. So
not many people step into the cage. A lot of people look up to that, so you can carry yourself.
Yeah,
Well, now with the social media, it's easy to get 1,000 people to.
And a lot of fighters will say to me like, oh, I kind of feel like arrogant to post a picture.
I
fucking
hate
hitting
posting
up.
shit.
And it's just
The
like,
problem is the problem with fighters is that they don't understand that being yourself. You don't have to be arrogant. You don't have to do anything. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Go out there and be you. If you're a bitch like Julie, you can be yourself and just be quiet. If you're somebody who's amazing like me, you can come out and talk. If you're somebody who's like, any of the greats like myself, you can come out and be yourself. All right? That's how it goes.
You have to be marketable.
Well,
Win or lose. I mean, even if you lose, if you're entertaining and you're marketable.
well, but look at Conor McGregor, he lost and then he loses. People still look about it. But you talk about being quiet.
The haters buy the tickets too. Like Michael Jordan said.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Tito Ortiz used to say that. Either you come in to watch me kick someone's ass or get my ass kicked.
Right.
Half the crowd's one way and half the crowd's the
Pay
other.
to see me win, pay to see me lose.
But you said something great about you don't have to be something you're not. You don't have to be Conor McGregor. And I think in the Conor McGregor world, since he's into it, everybody thinks they have to be brash, arrogant, and this. But what you said is right. Just be yourself. Like Zach DiSabatino is great.
And you guys don't be behind the scenes. I'm the same dude.
Yeah.
I'm the same
Zach,
guy, guys.
Zach he tried to front kick me in the head.
I was throwing kicks to him.
And I was just like, dude, I'm just trying to set up for the damn podcast.
I was like, I'm warmed up, Mike.
So,
You're like kicking the dartboard.
DiSabatino, you saw it in his thing. He's like, hey, can you give me a quote for the banners? Cool. Like, he's just that guy. You excited? Yeah. But that kind of works for
You
him.
can get him. You get him talking. He's a smart kid. He just doesn't like it in front of the cameras at all.
But you can also market that.
You can market
that's
the
who he
shit out of
is.
somebody who doesn't want to talk.
Well, no, a great example of this is my coach, Ross Levine. Ross Levine is not the guy who's going to talk shit to you. Ross Levine is not going to call you any kind of names. Ross Levine bowed after his opponent was dirty, pulling on his belt and poking him in the eye this weekend, and his opponent didn't bow to him. Ross Levine still bowed to him.
Yeah.
That guy, but he's himself. right? And that is my teacher. And you see me, I'm the opposite of that when it comes to how we promote ourselves, right? But again, at the core of it, we're the same guy. You know, we're both the martial artists at the end of the day. It's just we have different approaches. He's himself and I'm myself. Bruce Lee taught all of us how to do that. He told us express yourself, honestly. And you don't have to like it, right? But it's just going to be what it is. You don't have to like it, though.
But no, it's you know, be yourself. And, you know, like Slippery Pete was a funny guy, like, you know, that I think about this too. And they're like, oh man, that whole Slippery Pete persona that he puts on. I was like, no, Peter Barrett is the same fucking guy when you see him outside of social media. He's Slippery Pete out. You know, he wears the studded jean jacket. It's like, he wears that on a freaking normal Thursday. Like, that's just who he is. Anyways, just because, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but just because you talk trash, I got to give a little opportunity to some of our guests to talk trash.
Don't give them. I like those guys.
So Jeremy Diaz said, you talk mad shit. Take the do-rag off
my God,
so we can see that terrible ass hairline.
Go tune into my fight Saturday night. I'll let you see everything. I got you.
There we go.
Zach Cyril said, Ross Levine lost to a guy who delivers Chinese food. That was robbery.
Ross Levine could probably take your face off a little kick from his house right now.
And Will Asia equals Israel Adesanya. That's actually a compliment. So that's cool.
Appreciate
that's
it.
from Justin Simmons.
Good man. Thank you so much.
But anyways, Hassan Graham and Jack Burke are ending the undercard.
Hey, start with the heavyweights, ending with the heavyweights. Somebody has to go. Jack Burke with a big, quick knockout, emerging as an undefeated fighter, taking on the undefeated champion Hassan Graham. Not much else to say, but the big boy's closing out the show.
He goes, we're talking to a real ninja. And that's from Lionel.
You call me a nigga, dog. Go ahead, call me a nigga. I'm a real nigga. All right? I'm from the hood. I'm sorry. Real ninja. Sorry. I'm honest. I'm from the hood. You on Facebook, don't look. I'm black, first of all, Facebook. Don't be racist towards me. Son of a bitch. All right.
They're not having a heart attack yet tonight. I'm usually pretty good. I just thought ninja because, like, you have the ninja persona, like martial art. Like,
yeah, that's it. But I'm a nigga from the hood, too. I fucking beat these guys' asses. That is what I am. I've been doing martial arts since I was 5 years old, but I also grew up in the hood. That is what it is. I'm honest.
Right, man. All right.
Black Lives Matter. Let's go. Not half Black Lives, Black Lives. Right? Let's do it.
Come on, man. My 6-year-old's watching.
Let's go. Oh, yeah, sorry. I love you, 6-year-olds. My bad. I love you guys.
Andy, you lost control of the damn show.
I got a bunch of 6-year-olds probably watching. I got
here
my
at Table Titans tonight.
Tyler Penentel's going to bed now. Anyways, our first fight of the main.
I love you, Lionel. My boy.
First fight of the main card. Moving on.
Oh, that was great.
You're red as fuck.
Oh,
My
man.
man's redder than the flag.
Yeah,
He's like,
he's almost.
Don't worry, Mike.
Next up, Evolution Athletics. We got 4-2. Tyler Butterknife Smythe coming up to take on the world's largest flyweight, Joe Poirier, out of Lausanne. The flyweight title was held by Nate Russell, who has kind of put his I don't want to say put his career on hold, but like the last we talked, he was going to go pro. Then there was talk he might hang around, but he was just like, I don't want to hold up the belts. Tyler Smythe and Joe Poirier both deserve a shot at this belt. So, you know, if I do decide to come back amateur, I'll just fight one of them anyways. So, like, give them the belt, put it up on the line. Tyler Smythe is a beast. He just wants to fight. This kid loves to fight. He even said, Joe, bring your lunchbox. He's just a game guy. He couldn't get an MMA fight for us our last event. He took on a week's notice. A Muay Thai fight against Avery Andrews was a banger of a fight. Which showed a lot to him because he's like a grinder type wrestler, and it's like, well, why would you take your biggest tool? You're wrestling and you're grinding this.
Because he's a dog.
And he's got in there and threw hands.
I don't give a fuck. That's why. He's just a savage, dude. That guy's got to take a rock and beat your head in.
Ah, man.
This is a standard cage Titans one, Killer Cam. I don't know how many are left in existence.
They got the cool red, white, and blue ones out right now, guys.
Yes,
Check
we
those
do.
out.
How many fights total? 16 fights,
16
Martina.
fights. But yeah, this fight between Smythe and Poirier, holy shit, this is a fighter's fight. Poirier on such a tear, just an absolute finisher. Anywhere the fight goes, his hands are crisp. He knows how to sting guys with the hands and put them away with the chokes. But we've seen Tyler Smythe go the distance and weather storms and find a way to take control of the fight. So this fight for the vacant flyweight title is an absolute banger of bangers. Circle this one. If you don't know, now you know. The amateur title fights have always been some of the best fights that we put on. We're going from the biggest amateur title fight with the heavyweights to the smallest one with the flyweights, but Smythe versus Poirier. Circle it now. my prediction could
This
be
is it?
very well could
Andy
be an
Stamp.
all-time great. I think that both of these guys are absolute manic competitors that are so hungry to win that gold. Poirier coming off a resurgence after losing that title shot to Nate Russell.
He had his first defeat and then just came back with fire, changed some things in his game, and
Yep.
he's ready.
Yeah, so just knowing that he is that hungry to recapture this gold, and Smythe just calm, collected, smooth like a butter knife through butter.
That's why his
Hence
name's Butter Knife.
moniker, Tyler Butterknife Smythe.
That's a great
Love,
name.
That is a
love
good
his,
one.
That's
I love
a
his
great
demeanor
name.
going into a fight, but man,
Butterknife.
you
Good
wouldn't
shit.
think that he's got bad intentions on anything he does. Quiet, reserved kid, but man, that kid brings it every
Don't let
time
him
he steps
fool you
in
though,
there.
because
I love
I've
this
watched one of
fight.
his fight out west, and he was pretty into it, man.
I
It was-
love this fight.
So, yeah, man, this is Andy's stamp of approval for fight. That watch.
They
out for.
always all get my stamp of approval.
So I want to
This
say,
one could be-
I want to say to Cam, he's pointing out your shirt. This is from Cage Titans 44. The great thing about these Cage Titans shirts, if you once that fight was done, this was for 44.
So
That
this
shirt's
second-
never made again. So like every time you fight, that shirts that are available for that night, that is exclusive to the fighters that have been on that fight card.
And I
No
will
one else
sign
will
it
get
for you. I will sign
Uh-huh.
a real agent signature on any of your white shirts that you buy this. Or
So-
sign July 2.
Once those fight shirts are done, that show's over with. Next show, you'll never see the fight shirt again. So, unfortunately, we will not sell 44, but that just gives you more incentive to this weekend when you do see the Cage Titans 54 shirts. You get them then. After that, they're gone. We don't redo them.
What's cool about those is you do have them white, so you actually do have the room for signatures on different fighters too, which is actually really cool.
That is actually a good idea, yes.
No.
So,
So I got you, Mike. You know this.
you're always thinking.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. You keep going.
Keep going.
Yep,
Move
next
on
one.
to pro fights.
No, we got one more amateur title.
That's right, our first ever amateur Muay Thai title. That is correct. I forgot that this was an amateur title fight because we got Colin Robinson at 5-1, taking on Lamont Payne at 7-4. Colin Robinson at Team Link of Worcester, Lamont Payne at a Boneyard. This was originally going to be for the middleweight mixed martial arts strap.
So it
I
was
think
originally supposed to be Colin
was
Robinson
supposed to
versus
fight
Jadoffer.
Juku, but the Jadoffer falling out with an injury, hoping for a speedy recovery there, champ.
Nobody wants that smoke. Nobody wants
Colin
that.
Robinson wanted it, and I was looking forward to calling it, but now we're going to throw on
And when Chopper comes back, everybody's getting that.
some bigger gloves, and it's going to be a Muay Thai fight, and this one for the first Muay Thai title.
And it just kind of made a ton of sense for me. Like Colin Robinson and Jadoffer were supposed to fight before. Colin had to pull out with COVID, and then we rescheduled for this show. And then Jadoffer had to pull out, and that was for the June show. And then it was going to be on the July show, and Jadoffer wasn't available. So what happened is Lamont Payne name came across my desk. Lamont Payne actually won the No Boundary Muay Thai title by beating Jadoffer in a decision at the last No Boundary. So it was like, well, Colin, you're from Team Link, Muay Thai out in Worcester, like Muay Thai type of guy. Like I know we've been trying to set this title fight up now for 3 shows now. He was just in the World Championship in Greece, overseas, where I think he came in second place. So it's just like, dude, you've been trying to fight for our title for a while. Like Jadoffer's not available, but like, do you want to fight for the first ever Muay Thai title against the guy who just beat Jadoffer in Muay Thai? And that's how this fight came across.
Love it. Short notice change up, but no matter what, Colin Robinson
good
making that
fucking
walk
fight.
to the Cage
That's a
Titans
good fight.
cage, and Lamont Payne stepping up and
Shout out to
stepping
Nick
down.
Newell, that Joe.
Yes,
I mean,
notorious.
the Zach always tries to make a thing between us that we don't talk. Nick Newell, we actually have been texting. August 27th is our next card after this. We're going to bring up some of Newell's killers, we're going to talk next week. Zach, leave me the F alone. There's nothing up with me, Nick Newell. We're all good. Nick fought for us.
You hate me.
He
So
fought for us twice.
Stop.
He doesn't care, but he's relentless about Nick, and I don't know where it came from, but he like, oh, you hate Nick Newell. You hate Nick Newell. You hate Nick Newell. And I'm like, I don't leave me the fuck alone. And then I'm like, then he says it so much. I'm like, does Nick really think that I hate him? Because I don't I don't know, man. He started
You
getting
let
in
him
my
get
head.
No, that's just Cyril being
Yeah.
being a fuck. That's
Dude.
it.
He's a beast, man. That guy's he's a magician.
All right.
So yeah, and
Well, next up we have our first pro fight.
So actually,
Oh,
I
go
was just going to bring up the fact that since I was so wrong about when we started actually doing Muay Thai, it's only been since 2019, not since 2018.
Yeah.
But first ever Muay Thai title. How's it feel to be promoting some gold? In that
Yeah, man,
round?
I'm pretty cool. Lars Borson,
Also, something
Colin.
I talked about a while ago.
Yeah,
by the way,
yeah,
no
definitely.
problem. I introduced that.
Colin's first fight in the region, but he's from the Cape. He's 5-1. This is his first fight back
That's so
home.
good.
So that's kind of was like
What gym is he at?
he's at Team Link Worcester.
Nice.
So it's interesting how it came. Like when we did Muay Thai, it was just kind of like there was a need for more. I'll be
honest. Well, you gotta be
all
honest.
right, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest, and you can. It's not no boundaries. So what I'm going to say is not about no boundary. It's not about no boundary. Fred Bellaton and Mohammed, those good guys. It's not about them. But I will say this: very much like why I started Cage Titans was back 12, 13 years ago. I heard fighters talk about promotions and be like, "They're shitbags. Oh, this guy sucks." And I'm like, "Then why do you fight for him?" Well, I have no choice. I have to. They're the only ones in town or the only ones doing shows. I was able to get firsthand at a Muay Thai show, no boundary, and I heard the same fucking exact thing in the sport of Muay Thai. Like, oh, this person's check bounce. Oh, this person didn't pay me.
Mm-hmm.
This person did this. Oh, this guy's this. And I'm like, then why do you fight for these people? Well, they're the only really ones doing Muay Thai. No boundary only does 2 or 3 a year. There's not enough to keep us active.
2 or 3 great events a year.
Great, yeah, they do good events, and by all means. And I was just like, I heard that 2 or 3 or 4 times, and I heard stories like fighters' checks bouncing and shit like that, and I'm just like, this sucks. And the reason why I got into MMA, it kind of came flooding back to me, and I'm like, man, this is shitty that there's Muay Thai fighters out there that are combat sport athletes that feel that they have to put themselves at risk fighting for people who rip them off and do some of the
Because
things.
promoters will honey dick you into fighting.
So, that's kind of why I got into Muay Thai, and here we are, 2 years later, three. It's kind of cool to do a Muay Thai title. I never thought I'd get into Muay Thai, and I'm not trying to bullshit anybody in the region. Mohammed and Fred, they know worlds about Muay Thai. Mohammed was a champion. I actually trained with Fred Bellaton when I did MMA. Muay Thai is not a love for me. I will be 100% honest. I love MMA. I got into this sport because I love MMA. Muay Thai was, I like Muay Thai. It's cool. It's part of MMA, but it was never like, I need to promote this sport. I need to do this. I just got into it because I just felt bad for the fighters and the athletes that were competing. So
It's like that girl didn't have a day at the prime. You're like, damn, I got you.
So it's just like, it was just, I know how to promote MMA, and I thought it would be a nice segue. And then as we got into it, I started growing. It started growing, and I'm like, all right, we know how to market the sport. We know how to promote the sport. There's stars in Muay Thai that could be stars if they were pushed a little bit bigger and promoted more, and they had more opportunities to be active, because that's another thing. Like, you fight Muay Thai, you fight once and maybe twice a year. It's like, it's not enough.
And also 3 people watch, right? So
Yeah.
you're having a promotion where eyes are watching, you know what I mean? Like getting viewers to see these Muay Thai
Well, look at the
guys.
Prom King. The
Yeah,
Prom
he's
King.
great.
Like,
I'm
people
supposed
like
to train with him at some point.
Yeah,
too,
so
by the way. I
like,
still got you.
like this kid, like if he fought at a smoker or these smaller, like a Muay Thai event, like that's not even a thing.
Yeah.
It's just, that was a kid that was in the fight card, and now he has a following, and things like that. So I just felt like that we could give to the sport. And then what I also liked is that not everybody's ready to jump into MMA, and it's kind of why we got into the grappling aspect too. It's like, all right, like
Transitional.
Peter McLeod-Warwick, a teammate of yours, like he wasn't ready for MMA, and it was like, let me test the water at Muay Thai, and then he went undefeated in Muay Thai. He's like, all right, I think I'm ready for MMA now. And then he came up a little short, and then he's talking about maybe going back to Muay Thai a little bit. But like, I've had guys who did grappling tournaments with us just to get their feet wet in competition, and then eventually fight for us.
Yeah.
So it just kind of made sense to put everything together, and that's how we got into Muay
I
Thai.
do those grappling competitions, by the way. I
Yeah.
forgot you guys did that.
Yeah. So
We're gonna them back in
the Muay Thai title is cool. It's kind of fitting. It kind of forced my hand a little bit. I didn't necessarily have intentions on doing it right away, but when Jadafar pulled out, And then the guy who also put his name in just beat it offer. It was like, this kind of makes a little bit more sense.
Crazy
Yep.
storyline.
Yeah, you know, like Colin, you were going to fight it offer, but now you're going to fight in a different martial art. The guy who beat it offers. So it's, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
There we go.
There we go.
That's awesome.
Everybody's like,
There's
why
the
the hell are you
story.
talking? Mila Tesler, how much do I pay my Muay Thai?
amateurs.
If it's amateurs, they do not get paid. If it's pro, obviously we'll talk. And if you're a pro fighter or you have pro fighters, hit me up. We have yet to do a pro Muay Thai fight,
That
so
is also
that's
true.
not off the table. We tried to get Sean Schubert to fight pro Muay Thai.
Almost pro with little gloves.
Yeah, well, so Mila, if you have some fighters, bring them on
Love to
down.
talk.
We'd love to talk to you.
And
bring
now
some
we're on to the
guys.
professional ranks. Cage Titans 54. We are 4 professional fights topping off this card on 4th of July weekend. Kicking it off at the lightweight division from Hawaii.
Yes, love this guy.
Spencer Higa.
He always brings me gifts. And, you know, it's like it's so cool. Like he brings me every time he gets off the plane. This is his 3rd trip, and he always brings gifts for me. He brings these. They're like chocolate.
Macadamia nuts.
Yeah, like
Wow.
Does he bring you gifts too?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say.
He's like,
I've been to Hawaii, so I know what they.
Okay, I felt
Macadamia.
special. He always brings me a box, and like right when he gets off
Don't
the
bring me
plane.
any gifts. I can't take any gifts.
He's like, no, that's just a Hawaiian thing. Steve Rita knows from experience.
Okay, so you've been to Hawaii. That's right. Because I was gonna say, damn you, Spencer. I thought I was
He's like,
special.
wait a second.
He always thanks me. Always
And pineapples they bring.
Yeah.
But he's taking on Zach DiSabatino, who's sitting at 9-2 in his career and is emerging as one of the top prospects around these parts. And Spencer Higa, 7-12. His last fight against Peter Bear is one of the greatest one-round wars that has graced Plymouth Memorial Hall. Back and forth battle. Both guys were getting hurt, and their mettle was tested throughout the duration of the round. And he's hungry to come back and get a win and bring it back to Hawaii. He's been competitive with a couple of guys over here, from Peter Barrett to Frank Sforza, and Zach DeSab, another tough top prospect that Higa is looking to take that spot in the rankings from.
Yeah, you know, and Higa is just a beast. You know, so when Joe Giannetti's opponent fell out, he hit me up. He's like, dude, if anything happens with Joe cornered Spencer in his last fight. He's like, I just feel bad. He's like, I would jump in there in a heartbeat and fight Joe just to save his fight. Like, and I was like, just cornered. He goes, oh, no disrespect. He's like, I just would fight him because like to save the fight. And I'm like, let's get you through D7. We'll talk about that later. But that's just, he was just super nice, chill, and he's just like.
But that's like he's yet to win at Cage Titans, but he has shown that Hawaiian toughness and that spirit that is notorious from everybody that fights off those islands over there. That you see it through BJ Penn, Max Holloway, Spencer Higa, right on up there. So to
Dude, those guys are
bring
metal.
that toughness in, he's a dynamic striker that is going to be
He had
in D-Sab's face.
Pete running from him in the last fight.
So
Sorry, Pete. I'll never
I'm
let
looking
you
forward to
down
seeing
with that
how
one.
this one
He
plays.
turned
I
and
call
ran.
it footwork. That's what it was, P. It was footwork. All right. The first thing I teach you in martial arts, run. After that, then you fight. Okay, that's day one. Okay.
Zach DiSabatino looking to keep his spot as a top prospect around these parts at 155 pounds. No easy task. So he's
What, you tired now? Get what?
it happens,
What the
man. I'm getting old.
Drink some water.
I'm
Yeah,
getting
in the
old.
middle
I
of
need
the
a beer.
podcast.
I need
Yawning.
a beer. But no, I'm excited. DSAB back in action. He was like the Cal Ripken Jr. at Cage Titans. There was a string of time where he fought every single
It
show.
was like 8 shows in a row.
And he's 11 fights into his pro career, spent all of those 11 fights at Cage Titans, all of his pro fights,
Amateur fights,
amateur fights, that's what I meant, amateur fights, when he held the amateur belt, all in Cage Titans, a staple. Got a ton of respect for both of these guys, and they're kicking off the pro ranks at Cage Titans 54. What an exciting fight.
Zach Cyril says if he's cornering Spencer, he's going to win. And I do know that Higa needs some help in his corner. So Zach Cyril will actually probably be cornering Spencer Higa. His other comment: my team has the CES World Championship and the Cage Titans World Championship. And pretty gross that technically those things are true from Justin Simmons. There's nothing world above the Cage Titans title. Like, listen, you're the Cage Titans champion. It's
You know what? That's a good one. I'm gonna call it that now. World title. Yeah, there we go.
I feel like
World
that's a marketing ploy.
It's in my world.
It's
my
like,
world.
yeah, I mean, in the Cage Titans world,
Yeah.
you're the champion.
Like, you know,
so
WWE
yeah.
has WWE Universe.
Yeah,
There you go.
okay,
Right?
okay.
The Cage Titans family. The
I
Cage
always just thought that
Titans
was funny. It was like, if you're a promotion that's like not worldwide, how do
You gotta
how
have
do you
international.
claim that your
Well,
title's
we
a
got
world
international
title?
people here though for Cage Titans, right?
Well,
You
we
got
had
people
guys
come
from France.
Yeah,
To be
well,
fair,
see,
Plymouth
I got-
was the start of the New World.
So
All
can we
you
call
use
it the
like
Cage
one
Titans New World Championship?
The Intercontinental title. The Cage Titans Intercontinental
go.
The
Championship.
fuck the British title. That's
Oh,
The IC title. Or the US
Anyways,
championship.
we got to get going because Andy's getting
I'm not getting tired. I am just yawning. I am getting old. I don't know what the hell
But
it is.
anyways, how can you not get excited for this next fight? Gabriella Golfin taking on Hillary Rose. Hillary Rose returning to Plymouth Memorial Hall, which she has not fought in since her amateur days. And if you watch Gabriella Golfin versus Kylie O'Hearn, this fight is going to be insane. We're going to have a banger of a fight, and these two girls are ready to throw down. So
Hillary Rose making a splash throughout her amateur career, making her return against Gabriella Golfin, who exploded onto the scene with her war against Kylie O'Hearn. That fight had everybody on the edge of their seat, standing up, screaming from bell to bell, tons of momentum shifts. She showed how powerful she was, that she's able to stand in the pocket with someone who hits as hard as Kylie O'Hearn, weathered all facets of the game, very well-rounded, and Hillary Rose, perennial contender of women's New England mixed martial arts, sat cage side and commentated that fight. And then when the matchup was made, they both accepted, and I couldn't have been more excited to see that fight come to fruition, because I think both ladies are extremely talented, right on the cusp of being top contenders in a division that
Is there a female title in Cage Titans yet?
no, never had a fight.
Oh, that's interesting. Mike, you should introduce a female championship, man. Get one of
I
these
mean, we
ladies.
had Hillary Rose, our first female commentary.
These girls don't have a strap yet.
Gabriella Golfin and Kylie O'Hearn was the first female featured on a poster. I don't know. I don't listen to Zach. He was the first. They were the first females featured on a poster for Cage Titans, which is pretty cool. So yeah, man, we'll
Hey,
see what
maybe in
happens.
the future, guys, 2023, you can thank me, guys. I got you. I got all of you guys. I'll make sure everybody gets a belt. They're all getting belts.
So there you go. You get a belt. You get
You
a
get a belt. You get a belt. Everybody gets a belt.
But yeah, man, this is gonna be a great fight. I love Gabby because Gabby's just like so quiet, like barely says boo, and she just shows up. She had like a little lunchbox. She just showed up to the
What
weigh-ins.
division is that? What is she?
This fight's at
Strawweight.
120, but Gabby fights 125. Hillary's
Would that be
115.
flyweight or strawweight?
Strawweight.
Strawweight.
And then flyweight's at 25ers. But yeah, she just shows up with her little lunchbox and her backpack, jumped on the scale, and just like kind of quiet, barely talked to anybody, just went about her business. And I will say I was not expecting the type of fighter that Gabriella Golfin was. Like, she was very like timid, quiet, and kind of like I would even call her maybe shy. When we saw her at weigh-ins, and then seeing her around the fights, like leading up to it, it was just like kind of kept to herself and very soft spoken. But then when it came to fight night, like Kylie is brash, over the top, loud, in your face, like just crazy woman. And Gabby's just like, whatever. Like, it looked like she was just bored to be there. And then she just came out like a bat out of hell.
It was insane, the energy that she brought to the fight compared to the energy that she has just in her day-to-day. I'm not surprised that you were surprised with how she fought, but I've learned long enough that you can't judge a book by its cover when it comes to it. When it comes to fighting, some people they get amped up in there. Makes no difference if they're stoic or going in, jumping up and down off the rails. I don't make any assumptions to anybody until I see how they perform when the cage door is locked and the lights are on them and there's nothing but an opponent and a ref in there with them. So I wasn't surprised, but yes, I would agree that she does not fight the way that she carries herself outside of the cage. And I'm so stoked to have her back in the cage fighting another top prospect out of New England women's MMA in different weight class. Kylie O'Hearn, that was at 125, was it not? They both made one. That was at 125.
125. This fight's
jumping
at
120, a little bit not full weight class down to catch weight, but matters not. It's an exciting matchup. Hillary Rose making her Cage Titans return. Always been a staple of New England MMA, and to see her and her fan base back at Plymouth Memorial Hall, it's going to be electric in there. And knowing how both of these ladies like to bring it and how they like to go to war, this fight is another one. This is the second one that's getting the circle.
This is getting the circle for
Like,
you?
if you don't know now, you know. Like this don't
How
sleep
do
on
you
this
not
fight.
know about this after you?
Yeah,
you just
true,
saw
fair
it.
enough.
Yeah, I would argue that people might not know about this fight more because they don't remember Hillary Rose fighting at cage fights because she went on Dana White's Contender, then she fought at LFA. I think she might have fought at Invicta. Her last few fights have been out of the state. So maybe you don't know now, because people might forget who Hillary Rose is in New England. I don't think that's true. I'm not saying that, Hillary, don't beat me up. But like Gabby is fresh in your mind here in New England because we just saw her fight. And Hillary, it's been a little while, but I'm sure everybody's followed her. But either way,
It's gonna be fun.
it's going to be a fun one.
So,
Next up, we talked about him a little earlier, Slippery Pete, Peter Barrett.
On to the co-main event
Co-main
already.
event, taking on Jacob Bone. We announced that last week. Slippery Pete was originally scheduled to fight Dewan Owens, and Owens had to pull out. And out steps Owens, and simultaneously Bone was supposed to fight at CES against Eddie George, and Eddie George pulled out of that fight, and they weren't able to get him a replacement. I kind of heard that through the grapevine, and once CES happened, and they didn't have, obviously he wasn't on the card. I was like, well, listen, I didn't want to step on your toes if they were matching him, but he didn't fight. He should be ready. What do you think? And me and his management team talked, and it's a great opportunity. Because Bone just came up short in the title fight against Giannetti. There was talks about a rematch. This way, Bone still stays active. And imagine getting a win over a guy like Slippery Pete that just makes that fight with rematch with Giannetti that much more appealing. But then on the flip side, a win by Slippery Pete,
though. That's tough.
Pete's
good.
Slippery Pete. I mean, that could be that long way to showdown with Giannetti.
Yep.
So there's so many good
dog
fights here.
fight. Bone versus Giannetti was granted that rematch. That's not coming to fruition here, but it gets what you said, the next best thing. A co-main event slot against another Cage Titans legend, former champion, and Peter Barrett. It's a banger for a co-main event fight. Slippery's World coming to town, and Peter Barrett just on a resurgence, coming off that win over Spencer Higo, looking to string a couple together and get back to the big show. That's what his goals are. That's what his ambitions are right now. It's a tough fight for both of these guys, a fight that both of them needing their careers right now, and I love how it's taking place at the co-main event for Cage Titans 54. Both guys are some of my. Peter Barrett's been a staple at Cage Titans. He's put on some of my favorite performances that I've had the pleasure of calling, and Bone coming in the way he did against Giannetti already proved that his name is one to be remembered.
Yeah. And we talked about it a little earlier, like you mentioned, you don't have to be something that you're not. And that's why we were talking about Peter earlier. Like, he's always been that Slippery Pete guy. He was a guy that from the early stages of the Cage Titans, when I talk about taking the stage and making it your own, and he made it memorable every time he stepped out there. And that's why he's one of the most recognized names in New England MMA, is because, he got people invested. He always did a shirt. He always did a theme for every one of his fights. He was always engaged on social media. He was always talking.
It's somewhat polarizing of a character. Like, either you don't like that style of person or you do like that style of person. Really, it's hard to be in between on that. So I think
you go. Some people go either way. What's one thing I find though is some people that I found a few times over the course of promoting Slippery Pete's fights, like, I don't like that kid, because I see his social media. And they think it's an act and a persona. Then they meet him in real life, and they're like, I realize that, he's actually a really cool guy. And it's kind of, it's like, I think that when you see him with the studded jacket and the I don't give a fuck side flip, that you're like, oh, what's he trying to be? And it's just like, no, that's just him. And so I think that some of the outside looking in, when you see him on social media, I don't like this kid, he's fake or he's phony or whatever. But then you see him in real life, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, that is actually him. So it's like, oh, I respect him. I like him. He's a good dude. I think that was one of the things that, some people, when you say polarizing, it's like they don't really know if that's really him or not.
It's because people don't like unknown, right?
Yeah,
so it throws people off. They don't like things that they can't predict.
Yeah,
and if you're not predictable, then you start to get, people shy away from it or become scared of you. And fear might come out in different ways, right? In many different ways. So
and then, and for him, much like you come on the show today, it's just you're confident in your abilities, and sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. They're like, Slippery Pete.
I train too hard to not be
Slippery Pete back in the day would be like, I'm just knocking this fucking guy out, and people are like, oh man, how can you be so confident? It's like, well, that's just him.
That takes balls. I mean, again, that shows that you worked hard. That shows that you're willing to put it out there. Because again, you're either going to be proved wrong or proved right, and have the balls to go out there and put yourself out there.
Yeah,
I believe I'm going to destroy this boy. So either I'm going to be proved right or wrong.
Yeah.
That's how that goes.
Yeah.
I have the nuts to say it. He doesn't. That's one of those things.
So there you go.
He doesn't have the jewels to say it, right?
this Jeff Clark definitely has potential for fight of the night. I believe this fight
Oh, hell yeah.
is huge. Watching Bone fresh in my mind after his fight with Giannetti, and then just knowing knowing Slippery Pete for all the years. You know, yeah, that's good. Sorry, I was just talking to Spencer. Here you go. Spencer, if you're watching, definitely like those macadamia nuts or chocolate, as you can tell. So I'm looking forward to those when you land on Thursday morning. But yeah, and sorry, Zach. He said he's got his own corner now. You know, he does. Your services aren't needed.
For Higa?
Yeah, because that's what we were just talking about. Because he wasn't sure he was gonna have a corner because JoJo cornered him last time, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I got somebody." So we just kind
Oh,
of
Zach Searle, look at that.
confirm
Could he
it.
corner himself if he had a trainer's license?
Is there anything saying you have to have a corner?
I mean, like,
No, but you're supposed to have a corner. You have.
You're that. What would you do if a fighter walked out and he had no corner?
I try to get somebody a corner for him. I mean, we've had fighters walk out with corners that have no business being corners. I had a guy.
Zach Searle.
I had a guy at a show one time and said to me, what does a corner do? I said, if you don't know what the corner man does and your fighter doesn't know, you shouldn't be here. And sure enough, thank God he ended up not cornering. He got somebody else.
Well, usually, like I tell a lot of the guys, like though Zach, he's our punching bag and he's our clown here.
He does help.
You know, he does help.
but
He
also
does bring the
Zach, if you don't want
bucket.
to corner me one day, man, hit me up. I got you. That'd be fun.
Yeah, he is. He always helps. Zach said Ross Hilton had no corner.
Yeah, it happens once in a while that sometimes the guy gets into a car
Yeah,
write.
but we always usually
Or
get
whatever,
some.
but
we
I
yeah,
usually
want
get-
Zach just for comedy.
you wanna
relief.
have
I want Zach
somebody-
just throwing jokes.
Yeah, there you go.
You got to
He
have
does.
somebody in there. You can't just go in there with nobody.
I've seen people wrap their own hands. I've seen,
Yeah.
so I've seen
What?
Bill Jones right here. He's in the
I would
comments.
go without
He
hand wraps
actually-
if they let me.
Yeah, I don't think it's. You don't have to wear hands.
No, you don't.
Really? I don't. Can I
No, you
actually
don't.
go in there without hand wraps? I'm down to do that. 100%. If they are, I don't have to. I think it's a waste of time.
I carry the regulations
I
with
punch-
me at all
Yeah,
times,
right.
and I will look through the regulations for you afterwards.
I've never wrapped them, never broke shit.
There you go.
Never.
Anywho,
Punching since I was a kid.
Jay Ellis wraps his own hands.
Yeah.
Zach Sarah just said, and Bill Jones does as well. And I think
I do kung fu.
So there you go. In our last fight tonight, we talked about it earlier. Joe Giannetti is no longer taking on Nate Williams for the lightweight title. He's not defending his title this show. He's moving up to a catchweight of 165, take on Marcus Andruzia out of Performance Evolution. What is it?
Performance Evolution.
I know he's from Louisiana because I had to book his flights. He's flying out of Houston to come here. He'll be landing on Thursday. So yeah, this is another fight that's we're just excited to save the fight. And Marcus is a veteran, almost 30 fights professionally. He's been fighting since 2007. This guy's been around the block. He's held titles.
He's been fighting longer than Joe Giannetti's been wrestling.
I mean, he's Joe Giannetti probably graduated high school. Like, because I remember Joe Giannetti's story is that he came to the Cage Titans fight as like a high school kid, and watched from the crowd, and then he eventually started training and became a fighter. So yeah, man, this is yeah, I know. But anywho, we got Joe Giannetti, Skeletor taking on Marcus Andruzia as the last fight of the night.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
no joke.
Short notice main event fill in. Marcus Andruzia, 9-18, taking on the champ at a catchweight. Injuries happen with Rich Nate Williams, a speedy recovery. But Marcus Andruzia stepping up on late notice to save the main event. And Joe Giannetti looking to keep his win streak going and keep his name at the top of the ranks of top contenders out of New England.
Good stuff.
So he was the lightweight champion for IXFA Extreme Fighting. So he's held the title before, though this will be a non-title fight. I was gonna say I knew that he was a title. He defended his title too. So though he's 9-18, he held the title and defended his title earlier in his career. So yeah, this guy's not like.
Hey, look at some of the names that he's fought. Going Alex Moreno was in the UFC. Colton Smith, Ultimate Fighter winner.
He's fought for LFA Legacy. He's won an LFA, which is at 173 pounds. Look at that. This is crazy. So Marcus, just to give you an idea, he fought in a middleweight fight at LFA, won it like Kimura, but he came in at 173 pounds for a middleweight fight.
Light.
A little bit light, and he still pulled out the win. So he has a long storied history
His scale was off. That's all.
in the sport, but he's coming to town and he'll be taking on Joe Giannetti. We got a great fight card for you this weekend.
Hell yeah.
I'm super excited. We have Friday weigh-ins. Make sure you tune into our Facebook so you can see the weigh-in ceremonial stream. Saturday's the fights. Come down to town early. Second Wind Brewery will have the Cage Titans IPA on draft there. We will also be serving it, as always, at the fights. Has a great new can design. If you haven't noticed, every show we design the Cage Titans IPA can with Second Wind to mimic the poster look, color, feels. You can't get much more patriotic than this can. I mean,
USA, baby.
it's
All
full,
Oh, yeah.
Stars and stripes all around. Cage Titans IPA. It's 4th of July weekend in America's hometown. What more could you ask for? So come down early, grab a drink at Second Wind. Visit DJ Adam Russell, who's the part owner and manager over at Main Street.
Plenty of beers over
Plenty
there.
of beers over there. And then come on down. Doors open at 5. First fight, I'll say 6, but it'll probably be 6:30.
It's
And
gonna be a
then
banger.
after the fights, we're going to Tavern on the Wharf. They'll have the UFC pay-per-view. A couple people asked me about that. They always accommodate us. So we're watching the fights and celebrating with all the fighters, win or lose, at Tavern on the Wharf. So that's all I got for you.
We're running a 90-minute show right now. It's fight week, so what are we going to be doing? What else do you expect? It's always running late on fight week.
Yeah, man.
Will Asia, thanks for coming
Dude,
down.
thank you guys so much.
He brought
Steve
the
Rita, thanks for
heat.
bringing the gloves.
Hey guys, I want everybody to tune in, see the fight. Okay,
Hey.
July 2nd. Check out Steve Rita's gloves.
Steve
Amazing.
Reed is brand new gloves. Steve, I have you here though, and I know people think we're gonna wrap it up, but I gotta ask you. You have been refereeing, judging. When was your first match?
Combat Zone, not Combat Zone, down in Rivera, Club Lido,
What year? You remember?
2000.
2000? 2000, not 2000 and 2000.
2000.
So-
before
It
half the
was
kids were
about
born.
2000, 2001. It was at the dog track. It was across the street from the Club Lido at the dog track.
So
And then we got-
22 years ago.
22 years
My
ago.
man said.
Let me ask you.
Good shit, bro.
It's a long time ago.
What is one of the craziest and or most memorable thing that you ever had?
We've had a ton. I mean, we could write a book. Me and Kevin always talk about this, how we could write a book of all the strange stuff that happens, from fighters getting arrested in the locker room and breaking their hands in the locker room, and like unbelievable stuff that happens
Never had a hand
back in the day. Yeah, they're hitting mitts and they break their hand.
They
in the
need to do
back
more kung fu, man. I'm telling you. Iron palm, dog. What you mean?
Yeah.
Guys, big shout out to my coaches. Ross Levine, tremendous. Brian Bogue, amazing, amazing coach. My coach, Wasset, the Lion, the boxer, the most amazing coaches I've ever had. Okay. Big shout out to the guys. Pride Martial Arts Center, Rhode Island. Amazing, amazing team. Thank you guys so much for
Right, yeah.
training.
I'm going to take
And we got these guys acting up right now. And we got Mike on the phone. They don't know how to do a podcast. I'm running this now.
You are. I
So,
knew you were.
guys, I'm going to
I
take
knew
over
you
here.
were.
President Will Asia now.
Well, somebody was texting me about one of the comments. So I was trying to-
President Will Asia is here, guys. I got you. Okay.
Next black president, the new Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Oh, what you mean? The flex black president.
I vote for you.
Flex.
Can I be your,
Black.
can I be your Biden?
So, hold
Oh, yeah.
on. Did you tell us?
You got
Sorry, I
this.
asked you the question and then I just ignored you.
No, it's all right. I mean, like I said, there's a million things that happen.
Give us a fun story for the people. You haven't really said much of the whole show.
Well, like, I can't comment on any of the fights. That's why.
Yeah,
You know what
he
I
has to
mean?
be non-biased.
Yeah,
He's
I
the
have to-
mind.
I have to be
No, you can't
non-biased.
comment on the fights, but give us one. Give
But
us
we
like a
used to-
funny story.
I remember when we first started doing MMA, they didn't have gloves. They had to have open hand strikes only.
Yep.
And I remember guys getting slapped to the back and having welts.
Like handprints.
Like handprints on the back. And I remember this fighter, I think I still have a video of it. His wife was in the front row crying when she saw all the welts on
All the
back.
hands.
All the handprints. Like a 5-year-old putting handprints
People
on
sleep
the wall.
on kung fu,
Oh,
man.
it's
Just give us some
brutal.
slaps, though.
That's
Old
hilarious.
school martial
Yeah.
arts.
And that's the thing. We learned the hard way back then. We didn't have rules.
No,
Yeah.
Buster
You know
has
what I mean?
ours tattooed on his,
Yeah.
on his
We
palm.
just learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And I remember Bruce Marshall one time told us that, not only did we not get paid to do these fights, we had to pay to get a license. And we're like, are you kidding me? We get paid to do this now?
Pay to ref it.
Pay the ref? Yeah, we're like, we're crazy.
Wild Wild West
That
days.
was when the
Imagine how the
commission,
kids paying for
right, that was before the commission even started.
Wild Wild West days.
So, well, appreciate all your service over the 22 years.
Yeah,
Labeling
thanks.
them all.
Thank you so much.
So appreciate it.
Yes, these are.
I think that's it. Maria's shutting the TVs and the lights off. That means we
Telling
gotta
us to
go
get out
home.
because she said get out of here, guys.
So,
All right.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank
We'll
you so
see you
much.
this. We'll
Appreciate
see you
it.
this weekend, Saturday.
Julie, I'll see you. We'll be friends after the fight. I'll see you
Cheers,
guys
cheers,
first.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you Saturday.
Have fun,
Hold
guys.
on.